You wake up to the same day again. The problems feel familiar, heavy, suffocating. Every complaint falls on deaf ears. Nothing changes. But there's a choice, a way to reclaim your power. A Stoic knows this path. It's not easy, but it's worth it. The time for excuses is over. So our first lesson is the trap of complaining. Complaining is seductive. It offers a temporary relief, a way to vent frustration, but ultimately, it's a trap. You walk into work and it's the same story. The boss is unreasonable, the co-workers are lazy, and the task's never-ending. You find yourself voicing the same complaints to anyone who will listen. It's cathartic, sure, but has it ever changed anything? Complaints, Seneca once said, are the noise of a weak mind refusing to accept reality. And that's where most of us get stuck. We want the world to bend to our will, and when it doesn't, we find solace in blaming others, external circumstances, or fate itself. But the more we complain, the more we solidify our own helplessness. Think about it. Every complaint is an admission of defeat. It's a proclamation that the situation has power over you. Stoicism teaches that the one thing we can control is our response. So why waste that control on complaints? What if, instead of moaning about your workload, you acknowledged it for what it was, a challenge, an opportunity to prove your resilience? What if, instead of blaming your partner for your unhappiness, you accepted that your emotions are within your own control? Complaining is easy, but it's also lazy. It doesn't ask anything of you except to wallow. But responsibility? That's demanding. It requires you to confront uncomfortable truths about yourself and your circumstances. And that's where real power lies, when you stop waiting for the world to change and start adapting to it. The first step in a Stoic's journey is this realization. Complaining is the easy way out, but it leaves you stuck in the very place you despise. Second, the courage to own your life. Courage is the fire that ignites change, but too often, we mistake passivity for acceptance. You sit in traffic, cursing the cars ahead of you, wishing the commute was shorter, faster. But what good does it do? Complaints won't part the sea of vehicles. They only deepen your frustration. Yet here's a hard truth. The situation isn't the problem. It's your refusal to accept responsibility for your reaction to it. Epictetus once said, "We suffer not from events, but from our judgments about them." The moment you shift from complaining to taking responsibility, you gain control, not over the situation itself, but over your own response. That's courage. It's the bravery to look at life square in the face and say, "I own this." It's not about changing the circumstances. Traffic will always exist, workloads will always pile up, and people will always disappoint. But by owning your life, by taking responsibility for your reactions, you become unshakable. Imagine the power in that. A mind fortified against every storm, calm amidst the chaos. Think of a time when you felt overwhelmed by life's demands. Did complaining ease the burden? Or did it just reinforce your sense of powerlessness? Now imagine if, instead of focusing on what was wrong, you focused on what you could control. The car won't move any faster, but you can choose to use the time productively, or perhaps simply breathe through the stress. Small shifts in perception create seismic changes in reality. Courage, in the Stoic sense, is about accepting life as it is while seizing control of your role in it. The moment you stop complaining, you begin to realize you're stronger than you think, and that strength comes from owning your life, not from trying to escape it. Third, embrace the discomfort. Discomfort is the birthplace of growth, but we've been conditioned to avoid it at all costs. You wake up tired, uninspired, and the weight of your responsibilities feels like a 1,000-pound anchor dragging you down. Complaining offers an easy out. It's a way to validate your misery. Yet, a Stoic sees discomfort differently. To them, it's not something to be avoided. It's something to be embraced. Marcus Aurelius, a man who ruled an empire and faced endless challenges, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." What if your discomfort, your stress, your struggles, was the very thing you needed to confront in order to grow? What if, instead of seeking escape, you leaned into it? The modern world teaches us that discomfort is a problem to be solved, a sickness to be cured. We search for quick fixes and distractions, anything to avoid sitting with our pain. But the Stoic sees discomfort as a necessary part of the process. Growth isn't possible without resistance. It's in the moments when you're most tempted to complain that you have the greatest opportunity to strengthen your character. The next time you feel the urge to complain, stop and ask yourself, what is this discomfort trying to teach me? Is it testing my patience, my resilience, my ability to adapt? Every obstacle is a lesson in disguise, but only if you're willing to see it that way. Complaining is a rejection of discomfort. It's a way of saying, I don't deserve this. But who promised life would be easy? The Stoics understood that discomfort is not an enemy. It's a teacher. And the sooner you learn to embrace it, the sooner you'll find that the challenges you once feared are the very things that forge your strength. Fourth, the power of perspective. Perspective is everything. Life doesn't hand out rewards or punishments. It simply is. Yet, how you interpret it defines your reality. Imagine being passed over for a promotion. The disappointment gnaws at you, resentment builds, and complaints spill out. But is the situation truly as bad as it feels, or is it your perspective that's flawed? Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Think about that for a moment. How often do you inflate your problems through your thoughts? You imagine the worst-case scenario, and soon it becomes your reality, not because it's true, but because you believe it is. Now imagine shifting your perspective. The promotion wasn't a rejection. It was an opportunity to grow, to reflect on what you could improve. The challenge wasn't a setback. It was a test of your resilience. This shift in mindset changes everything. Complaints become unnecessary when you realize that every situation holds value, even the ones that hurt. Life throws curveballs, no doubt, but how you perceive them is entirely within your control. A Stoic doesn't ask for life to be easier. They ask for the strength to handle it. And that strength comes from perspective. What if you saw every struggle not as an obstacle, but as a step on the path toward mastery? The next time you're tempted to complain about your circumstances, pause, ask yourself, how would this situation look through the lens of a Stoic? What lesson can you extract? When you master the art of perspective, you stop reacting and start responding. Complaints become irrelevant because you've already chosen how to perceive the world. Fifth, action over words. Talk is cheap, but action? That's where real change happens. You've been here before. Making promises to yourself, declaring that tomorrow will be different, that you'll stop complaining, start working harder, seize control. But when the time comes, the words fade, replaced by old habits and excuses. The Stoics believed in the power of action. Words are fleeting, but actions define character. It's not enough to talk about what you want to change. You must embody it. Epictetus reminded us, don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. That's the Stoic way. It's not about grand declarations. It's about daily practice. Look at your own life. How many times have you said you'd make a change, only to fall back into the same patterns of complaint and avoidance? You want to be better, but without action, it's all smoke. Complaining is easy. Taking responsibility requires effort. And that's the crux of the matter. Are you willing to put in the work? Action is the antidote to complaint. The next time you catch yourself grumbling about your situation, stop. Instead of voicing your frustrations, take one small step toward a solution. It doesn't have to be a monumental leap. In fact, it shouldn't be. True change is built in increments, through consistent, deliberate action. If your workload is overwhelming, break it down. Start small, focus on what you can control, and move forward. If you're unhappy with your relationships, take responsibility for your role in them and act accordingly. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Every step you take pulls you further from the realm of complaints and closer to the life you want to live. Complaints keep you stagnant, but action propels you forward. The Stoics knew this truth, and now, so do you. Life doesn't change just because you wish it would. Complaints won't fix the chaos, and excuses won't bring progress. The only way forward is to stop blaming the world and start owning your life. Responsibility is the key. It unlocks your strength, your resilience, and your freedom. If you're ready to break the cycle, now is the time to act. But this journey is far from over. There's more to uncover, more to learn. So before you go, dive deeper. Click on one of our other videos to continue transforming your mindset. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep evolving with us.